Welcome, YouTube family, once again. This time we're here with Masi and Mubashir. We're going to talk about last night's fight with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. So, regards to that fight, from what I saw, was Fury really took it to Wilder last night. When I saw the first fight, Wilder was way better than what he was last night. He seemed more fluid in the first fight. Last night, I don't know what happened, but like Mike Tyson said, when you get punched in the mouth, your game plan's changing. You know, everyone has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. So I think towards the end of the second, Fury connected a couple of shots. And then that third round, I don't know what happened when he hit him above his head, messed up his equilibrium, got the boy all dazed, and after that, you saw that fight was gone. So I just wanted your opinion from you guys. What do you saw, Masi?
I mean, honestly, Fury did exactly what he said he was going to do. He's going to go at him, he's going to charge him, he's going to knock him out, and that's what his game plan was the whole time. That's what I saw. He did exactly what he said he's going to do, and Wilder kind of was caught off guard. Like, well, the way I saw the fight was he didn't think that he would do that. He thought it was all talk, he's not going to rush him because of that right arm. And when he got rushed, I think, like Cena said, the game plan was out the window at that point. It was like he was just surviving. And after he got knocked and I saw that blood coming out of his ear, I knew the fight was over because he was in defense mode the whole time. And Fury was not going to light up. He was going to keep going at him. There was so much on stake. Both undefeated. Both had fought before. And they were the controversial withdrawal between them. So he didn't want to leave nothing to chances. And I think that's exactly what he did. He went after him and he made sure that did not go to the judges again, because I think it was going to be another draw for another fight. So he didn't want to leave that to the chance. So I agree with you in most aspects on that one.
So some quick stats. Power punches. So Wilder landed 33% of his power punches and Tyson landed 36% of his, but Wilder only threw 55 and Fury threw 160, which was 3 times as much. And yeah, Fury just came more prepared. I think Wilder it looked like he didn't even train for this fight. He looked really out of breath. I'm surprised that he even went 7, because from the third round, he looked like he was dazed off. And anytime Fury got close, he just tried to grab him. And he just couldn't create space, and Fury could tell like what Wilder was trying to do, and he just brought the fight to him. Made it easy.
And keep putting his body on him. You guys saw that? All that weight. 40 pounds is a lot. 40 pounds is a lot when you keep grappling and they're just putting the weight on him. He was exhausted. I thought.
Yeah, to be honest, going to the fight, I didn't know there was so much difference of the weight. Yeah. If I knew that, I would have told you right off the bat that Fury has an upper hand. To have like you said, 40 more pounds of difference between him and Wilder, that's crazy. And you saw every time Wilder wrapped up Fury would just hit him with a jab either to the ribs or wherever.
Yeah, that exhausts your body.
I think Fury didn't even care if he lost points. He knew he had his game plan. I think when I saw it, he knew what he was doing. Like, okay, I'm gonna lose a point, but I'm breaking him down. He was breaking Wilder down, and he was getting exhausted. I think the fight could have finished much earlier, but it got extended like the 7th round. I give Wilder credit for even surviving and lasting that long, but it should have been done much quicker.
But it caught up to him, his techniques. Like, we all know that Wilder's mostly just power. That he doesn't have a way. He doesn't have a way to really launch that right arm or a game plan. And it kind of got exposed when you're fighting somebody at that level, that's that elite, that has an undefeated record as well. And that's exactly what we saw. He just simply outboxed him.
Yeah.
There was no technique. Wilder was just hoping and praying that he can land that right arm. He threw it so many times and Fury just ducked it. He was just falling apart, and then he was backtracking, worried about he's going to get hit. There was no game plan, I think, from his side as far as I'm gonna hit him with this combo and then throw my right. Like, have a plan to launch that right arm. It just never got there, and Fury didn't allow him to do it at all.
Yeah, it was just too much reliance on that arm, and I think his team just didn't prepare him well enough. And that extra weight he gained was, I think, because of Fury, like gaining extra weight. Fury had a reason to gain extra weight. Wilder just did it because Fury gained extra weight. So I don't think he was ready to fight at 230. What was it, like 15, 16 pounds more than the first fight?
But Fury was also out the boxing for a minute. Like, when he came back for that first fight, he said he's not going to be ready. And in his interview, if you guys saw, his dad had told him, you're going to lose that fight, the first fight. He got lucky that it was a draw because he wasn't ready for that fight, Fury. This fight, his dad told him this is going to be the easiest fight you're going to fight. Yeah. Because he already knew, like, Wilder doesn't have techniques. He needs to build a system to be able to do some combinations where it will lead to his right arm, where he can launch that right arm. If you don't have a game plan or have a way to, like, release that right arm, you can't just hope and pray that every time you're going to get that chance or have that, what we say, the biggest eraser is that right arm.
Yeah.
But he had no chance of letting that go this time.
Yeah, I agree. I think what Wilder should have done was call up Floyd and take some defense courses, because, again, who knows what his game plan would have been moving into the later rounds, but it's hard to tell what he would have done because he got hit and he got really messed up in the early rounds, so you never saw his game plan develop. What I was hoping to see, he was going to rope-a-dope Fury, because it may be, okay, if he is heavier than him, at least he should have been on the agile side. He could have rope-a-doped him, weared him down, make him miss. Dude, you throw enough punches and you don't connect, eventually you're going to miss. I mean, you're going to get tired and you're going to lose confidence. And then what Wilder could have done, just like Floyd, a jab here, a jab there, and wear down Fury. And then I think you would have saw more of the results from the first fight than what happened now. So it's hard to tell what exactly Wilder's game plan was going to be in the later rounds, but unfortunately we didn't get to see that.
I don't think he's like a late round guy. He's a knockout person, so he wants to end the fight quick, and he just couldn't set himself up. Like, Fury really relied on his jab, and every time he jabbed, he stepped into it. So, enough times, you get hit enough times with the jab, a guy that big, I don't care who you are, you're going to get tired out.
Yeah, you're still going against heavyweights. And again, exactly. To me, really goes back to technique. Wilder doesn't have technique. He doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't have a jab. He doesn't have combinations. Mostly, he's been surviving with that right arm. And we talked about this many times, like debates come up on shows and even between friends, how one thing that Wilder was missing is his technique, his way to launch that right arm. And he needs to build that. I mean, his corner always kind of backed him up as far as like, no, he's good, we don't need to train. And I think that's where they lost the fight. I think they thought that right arm again is going to come through, it's going to be the big eraser. If Fury's going to just come at him like he's saying he will, all he needs to do is land that right arm.
His feet was really bad.
It was not.
I was watching the footwork of both of them, and anytime Wilder would step back, I was watching Fury's front step. He'd always like line his front step with Wilder's front step, so he was always within like a close distance. And every time Wilder would get touched, he looked like off balance, and they were saying his legs were too spread apart, where it was making it easy for Fury just to step up and jab him.
Yeah,
but it's in every one of his fights. After every one of his fights, people start analyzing and talking about how he's wild. He just throws it off. He's falling everywhere.
His whole stance.
Even the last fight, it was so boring with Wilder, and I forget Dia. I think he fought.
No, it wasn't
Ortiz. Ortiz, I think. Even in that fight, as you guys can see, he was falling everywhere. He got lucky. He landed that punch that knocked him out. The fight was boring. There was no technique going on. Every time he would throw it, he's falling apart and backstepping. With Fury, he couldn't do that. Fury had the game plan. He knew he's going to go in there. He's like, if I stay close to him and eliminate that right arm where he can't really clock it back and release it, I'm gonna win the fight. And he, like Cena said, he didn't care about the point deduction. I'm gonna put my
Yeah.
40 pounds of more weight on you every time. You're already exhausted. Your eardrum is busted. You can't catch your balance. I mean, the fight was over, honestly. After the second round, I really thought he was just in defense mode. He couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, from the second the bell rang in round 1, Fury just stuck to that plan. I'm going to get close to you. I'm going to jab you. I'm going to tire you out. And then he saw Wilder couldn't counter it, defended nothing. So he just kept sticking to it. That's why I'm surprised it even went that far.
Yeah, so what are you guys expecting now moving forward? Who will be Fury's next opponent?
Oh,
Who
Joshua.
will be
Oh, man.
Has to be Joshua.
Anthony Joshua? You
I think
so?
it's gonna be Joshua and Fury, and it should
It has
be
to
in
be.
England. It's gonna be sold out. I mean, Joshua, guys, he sells out stadiums 90,000 like nothing by himself. Like I was hearing, I think it was Stephen A. said, if he's fighting the doorman in England, he's filling up 90,000
Yeah.
stadium. They have to build a new stadium for that fight, and everybody deserves that fight. But to me, that's gonna be a tough call.
And
To
Wilder
me,
said it, like, the best has to fight the best.
they have
Yeah,
to.
that's true. So how about for Wilder? What do you guys think is gonna happen after
He needs
this
to get
fight?
his ears checked.
I mean, honestly, with him, he got a dose of reality. He
Yeah.
finally saw that if a fighter really has a game plan coming into the fight, that he needs
yeah.
to build on his techniques.
Every
He need-
boxer that fights him now, like, saw a way to beat him. So if he can't find a way to figure that out, it's going to be a tough one for him every time now.
Imagine, guys, with that big body and that power, if he was a legitimate boxer too, if he can really have technique and footwork and have his kind of 1-2 combination and then release that right arm from it, which we thought we kind of saw in the last fight. He found a way to launch that right arm with that jab. He was finally throwing this, like just showing him that left. But again, like Cena said, he got punched in the mouth and the game plan was
Yeah.
over after that. There was nothing we saw from him that showed that he could be in the same ring as Fury. That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it wasn't even that bad, to be honest, because he did connect a couple of times on Fury, but
But they were like,
This
they were
guy got
from
hit
close
and
range,
it's
you know.
over.
For him to actually land one, he needs to be a little, like a step back so he gets the full.
And then the
swing.
problem there is Fury has a reach also, so if he would step back too much,
Yeah.
that's it, man.
But again, 58 power punches to 8 or 13, whatever it was. I mean,
Yeah.
Fury landed 58 power punches. Wilder didn't even land 58 total.
Yeah.
He landed 58 power punches. That stat blew me away last night, and Mubashir already touched up on the stats. I mean, just there alone. But I can't wait for the Joshua and Honest Fury fight. I think those
You think-
are two boxers that
You
are.
think Fury's gonna lose more weight, or you think he's gonna? Because I don't know what Joshua's weight's at, but
I mean, why would you? Honestly, if he
Joshua's
was moving
fast.
very fast. I mean, he was moving very well. I mean, yeah, Joshua. I think Joshua will take him. Honestly, that's what my personal opinion is. Because, like you said, he's faster and he can really box. He's just not depending on his power and everything. But I have Joshua in that match. Honestly, I think Fury's a little slower, like you said, but I wouldn't lose the weight. I think I would use that to my advantage. Do the same thing, just rush him, use my body, put it on him, exhaust him. Because
yeah,
that's the
because
only way
Joshua
you
can
win.
fight close.
Yeah, Josh was at 240,
Okay,
so it's similar to what
it's
Wilder
not that
is
far
now.
off.
Dude, again, the weight is
But Joshua can
It's
fight
heavyweight.
Cena. I
Yeah,
think
that's-
it's technique. Boxing is technique, guys.
Yeah.
Like that's why they do their footwork. I mean, Muhammad Ali is known as greatest boxer of all time. Why? Move like a butterfly, sting like a bee. It's not just sting like a bee. You have to move like a butterfly to be able to sting like a bee. And Wilder doesn't have that. Joshua does. I
I
really
think if Fury's not gonna go down in weight, then Joshua should
Yeah.
go up a little bit.
Who
Just
do you
a
guys
little
have winning last night? See, I honestly thought Wilder was gonna knock him out.
I thought so too, honestly. I thought that right arm's going to be too much for him. I thought he's going to land it. I knew it's going to be way more closer than last time. I knew Fury was going to come in more prepared than the last fight. But that was like a beatdown. I made that
Yeah.
comment last night in our group chat. I told you guys, like, it was like a senior beating up a freshman. Like, they were
Yeah.
not in the same class to me. In that ring, it was two different levels of fighters, I thought.
Yeah, man. Even looking at that first fight, the couple of times that Fury got knocked down, yo, he got up like, and he just went about the
He
rounds
said
like nothing. Like it was nothing, and that was like, whoa, okay, this second one's definitely gonna be different, because that's advantage to Fury. Like, okay, he knocks me down, I could get right back up, no problem.
And even in the last rounds with their last fight, I think that's where he built the momentum. Because in the last rounds for the first fight,
yeah, he said
Fury had most of the rounds in the end. Like he figured something out,
exactly.
and I think that's what he built on. And Wilder was just, maybe it was his ego, or maybe his just like pure thinking like nobody can beat me. I don't think he built a game plan. I thought he just went in there like, if he's gonna rush me, I'm gonna land that right and we're gonna end this. And didn't work on footwork, didn't work on any kind of combinations to get to his right. Like, I'm beating the horse, I guess the dead horse, over and over. But to me, that was the biggest difference between those two. The techniques between them two were like, one was a boxer, one was just a guy with pure power. The best maybe we have ever seen. But you can't do nothing with power if you don't have a way to release it.
Yeah, technical boxing is a very technical sport, and
that's all they work on.
he got outboxed.
Very much.
It wasn't even close.
All right, so to just wrap it up, hopefully we're looking for Fury and Joshua next fight. Whenever that's gonna be, you have Joshua, and you say Joshua as well, or
Yeah, because just like if Fury tries to get close to Joshua the way he did with Wilder, Joshua will be able to close box him, land
and
a
he
couple
will move.
body
He
hits, hit him on the
footwork.
chin.
He got footwork. He
Wilder,
will
like, the difference was when Fury got close to Wilder, he would just grab him.